Today's reading is called Direct Relationship, but it could equally well have been called Forgiveness. It could have been called Sin and Forgiveness. So anyway, you'll see as we read it. First quote is from Robert H. Bitzer, who was once again another luminary of the New Thought Science of Mind movement during the 20th century. And he quite rightly says, the belief that something false is real does not make it so, but does govern our actions. The bush alongside a mountain trail can startle us if we believe it is a bear. And I'm sure that's happened a lot, actually. So, and of course, it's what we expect as well, right? But I think it kind of speaks for itself. So just because you believe that something is real doesn't make it real, but in a sense, it makes it real to you until you realize your mistake. And Ernest Holmes, he goes off on a slightly different track in Living the Science of Mind, pages 397, 398, published in 1984, which is like 24 years after he passed away. And this is what Ernest Holmes had to say whenever he wrote this. The nature of divine forgiveness is written into the very constitution of being itself, and the forgiving is simultaneous with our new use of the law. When we stop making a mistake, we are automatically forgiven. But of course, we will be punished by a mistake while we continue in it. For the divine forgivingness cannot be complete until we receive the offering of its love, not with fear or morbidity, but in joy. When we transcend previous mistakes, they no longer exist, nor is there any effect from them. This means a complete salvation from the sin, which in itself was a mistake, and the punishment, which is the consequence of the sin and the mistake. This particular sequence of cause and effect is now transmuted into something else. This should happen every time a scientific treatment is given. And what he means by that, he's talking about affirmative prayer, aka spiritual mind treatment. When he says a scientific treatment, he means a treatment along specific lines, a directed treatment, not a begging prayer, but a direct treatment. He says each of us exists in direct relationship to the cosmic whole. In the long run, there is no law but that set by one's own soul, since each one individualizes the universal law of cause and effect. If we have been sinners, we can become saviors, and the first thing we should save is our own thought. So let's see what Reverend Jesse has to say before I give you my few thoughts on it. Reverend Jesse says, we labor under unconscious emotional burdens. This is what Ernest Holmes suggests. We hold resentments and we harbor regrets. We do stupid things and hurt others, deliberately or by not paying attention, and I would add sometimes to ourselves, or often to ourselves. He says, yeah, this is fixable. However, it wouldn't be if life were totaling up the score against us, so that by now we'd be in it too deep to redeem without divine intervention. But it's all in here rather than out there. Repair the mistakes in a combination of consciousness and material action, and the consequences naturally move to match. So he's saying here, or they're both saying here actually, that when we make mistakes, we suffer the consequences of them. And sometimes you can call it sin or just a mistake, but they're talking about the law of cause and effect. You do something, something happens. You kick a ball, the ball flies. You make a mistake, you hurt somebody, there's a consequence. That's what they're saying. But they're also saying that there isn't some divine scorekeeper that's writing all this stuff down and holding it against you. That once you made the decision to stop making that mistake, stop committing that sin, if you prefer that, then it's all gone. It's all done with. It's forgiven. It's gone. And this would obviously not be the case if you believed in karma, where if you believe in karma, you believe you're building up all either good stuff or bad stuff, and it's going to have a consequence when you're returned to earth in another being, another form, whatever. So they're saying that there are consequences to your actions, but once you stop that behavior and that pattern of thought, then that's the end of it, and you start moving off in another direction. Now, it's not to say that there aren't consequences that have got to be paid for, but what they're saying is that there's no divine toting up of this. You know, if you commit a robbery and you're caught, however sorry you are for your action, there will be civil consequences. But what he's saying is that once you stop doing that, there will no longer be divine consequences held against you. So that is your reading for the day. I silence my turbulent thoughts and direct my attention to Spirit's perfect action in my experience. I silence my turbulent thoughts and direct my attention to Spirit's perfect action in my experience. You know, I stop what I'm doing, I change, and I start on a new track. And there I go. My colleague, Reverend Lisa, I forgot what she's reading right now, but she'll be on Creative Life Spiritual Center's Facebook page about 9:15 tomorrow morning. I've got to ask her what she's reading right now, and then I can just mention it as I mentioned this. And tomorrow, Danielle Johnson should be online with her midweek meditation sometime during the day tomorrow. She has to work through her work schedule. And I'll be back, all things being equal, tomorrow evening at about 5 o'clock when I look at my calendar. So I just know for each and every person here, I claim they're easily able to release anything that's been holding them back, release what is no longer serving them, and that they move into the future with a new passion, new experience, and a new belief. And I release my word into a divine law that always says yes, and so it is. So until next time.